that spirit, I recognize the senator I know will go out of his way to stick to his 7 minutes. Senator Tillis.
Thank you, Chair Durbin, and Director Wray. Thank you for being here. I particularly appreciated some of your opening comments with respect to the 38,000 people that work in the FBI being good, hardworking, honest people doing their job and doing a dangerous job. We've seen that with some of your testimony related to the loss of life. I am going to stick to my time, maybe even yield back a little bit more, because my colleagues, Senator Lee, cited some concerns I have about past investigations, and Senator Cruz, I think, pointed out some important issues that we can deal with, and I can submit questions for the record. I put a copy of this on your desk just so you could see it, because I didn't have time to have it blown up. But I talked about this at a committee hearing a week or so ago. A lot of your testimony talked about what a dangerous job it is for FBI, local law enforcement, state law enforcement. And last week, I just happened to do a quick Google. I did Act Blue, which is the primary fundraising engine for Democrats. We have an equivalent. I don't begrudge them for having that. They raised $513 million between April 1st and June 30th this year. But the result of my query also came back to a subpage on Act Blue, which is sponsored by Black Lives Matter. And it's called the 13.12, 13-mile run for justice. And so far, they've raised about $1.1 million. And their cause is, in the web, this is directly from the website, why 3.12 miles? 3.12 equals ACAB, which equals all cops are bastards. Every mile you run is $1 for Black Lives Matter to use in their mission of dismantling white supremacy and defunding the police. Do you think all the FBI agents, the 38,000 of them, are bastards?
Absolutely not.
Do you think most of them are white supremacists?
Absolutely not.
Do you think that this is unhelpful to addressing the issue that you raised in your opening testimony about the safety and security of law enforcement in this nation?
I have a lot of things I would say about this piece of paper and the message in it. Many of them are not probably appropriate for
It's definitely
public
a
hearing.
piece. I was thinking about Senator Cruz's comment. I could actually see, based on this appeal, and it's still on the website. I'm checking it every day to see how much more money they're raising. They're trying to raise $1.1312 million. They're at $1.1 million so far. It would almost seem to me that people that would actually say this and say that you should run around police stations to do the 13 miles and that you should make noise and make yourself known, it almost seems to me that they're rising at least to an extremist organization. And unlike Black Lives Matter, sanctioned by Act Blue, I don't think all of the people in Black Lives Matter are bad people. I don't even think most of them are. But I think some of them are. And I think that these kind of statements published on the internet to raise money to make police officers less safe maybe warrant an opportunity to have a Black Lives Matter flag on a website somewhere in the FBI and say not all of them are bad. Just like you said, people that observe some of the symbols of our nation are not all bad, but it could be an indicator. Why wouldn't it be logical to say that people that would say this sort of stuff could actually have a number of them, maybe even a small number, who are taking an extremist position that are making law enforcement less safe and potentially instigating attacks against law enforcement officers? Why shouldn't that be something the FBI should study and make known that this is something that the community should be looking at?
Well, I think number one, I want to be careful that here, as in everywhere else, I'm not commenting on First Amendment expression. But when it comes to violent extremism of any stripe, it doesn't matter to me or to us at the FBI whether you're upset with the result of the election or upset with the results of our criminal justice system. You don't get to use violence to express that sentiment. And I think we have put out intelligence products related to what we call racially motivated violent extremism, some of which is actually not advocating superiority to the white race, but there has been, believe it or not, violent extremism, racially motivated violent extremism the other way too, in some instances. And so we have investigated in those instances, brought charges in those, and there may be some intelligence products as well.
I hope you will. I'm going to continue to monitor this and monitor their fundraising progress. This is not the last time that this committee is going to see it. The next time it'll be blown up. But as long as they're doing this sort of stuff, I think we have to call them out for it. In the same way that I would call out anyone at the other end of the spectrum for inciting violence against anyone. It's wrong, and it's making our community less safe. Last question, be quick so I can yield back a little bit of my time. Can you give me an idea of anyone who's been held accountable who was involved in Crossfire Hurricane investigation? What specific actions, if any, have been taken?
Well, we've taken a whole slew of actions in response to the Crossfire Hurricane report. I think over 40 plus corrective measures and so forth.
Is anybody in the Bureau
there are a number of
disciplined?
There are a number of people who are currently in our what we call Office of Professional Responsibility, which is our disciplinary arm. You may wonder, why has that not yielded its results yet? And that's because we are working closely with, cooperating closely with, and assisting the Durham investigation. And so that whole process, which is not unusual, has been sort of slowed down to make sure that it doesn't interfere with the Durham investigation.
Okay, I'll submit other questions for the record. I, for one, want to thank every employee in the FBI for the hard work they do and their courage, and I thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Senator Tillis. Senator Booker.